Yeah. So we'll come up with the questions again. And this is how we are going to do it. Okay. So the first question, I think is okay. The wait is for. So the first question says, subnet the IP address. Or do you need me to explain how this table works first?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a table, right? And in this table, you see there are three items there. And the first one there is the subnet. So what that subnet is talking about is basically the network, right? And the second one here is talking about the host, which is the number of IP addresses that will be within those range, right? And the mask is, they will give you, is what is just showing you, okay, this network is by default, or you are borrowing this, or you are borrowing that from the host to the network. Look at it. We have the subnet here, which is the network. And this, we are dealing with class C, for example. This is basically for class C, this table. I see one here. This means that the network is whole, like the network is one, right? This is the full network. And in a full network for class C, the maximum number of hosts or IP addresses that can be contained therein is 256. So when the network is one, you have 256 networks. 56 IP addresses in that particular network. Okay. Now, and by default, the mask is /24. /24. And let's take example of 192, right? Let's just take one example. If we say 192.168.168. Let's say 20.0. This by default is equal to 24, right? This is by default. And if you want to write out the subnet mask in full, this will be 255.255.255.0. This is by default. All right. Now, if you want to, now note that if you are writing this subnet mask that is 255.255, you have to cancel out this /24. So this /24 is just telling you that, okay, you have you have 0 here. Everything is in default. Now, if you are now dividing the network into two parts, you see that I said earlier that this subnet is as good as same network, right? And it is 256 because that is the maximum number you can get. And if the network is full, if it's a whole, that means you are having 256. But by the time where you'll be dividing the network into two equal parts now, right? What do you think what number of IP addresses or hosts do you think that will be accommodated in each of the network?
Okay, 128.
128, right? Cool.
Yes.
Now, what about if you are dividing it into 4?
Okay, 64.
64
for each.
for each, exactly. So that is to tell you that by merely looking at this table, right? If somebody should
Yeah.
ask, if somebody should tell you, give you an IP, I mean a Class C IP address, all right, and they
Uh-huh.
said we are dividing it into four. When they say we are dividing it into four, the next thing you just want to look at is for you to look at the host from the table. Then you can easily tell the number of IP addresses that will be contained in each of the network, which is what? 64.
Okay.
You get that? And
Yes.
now it is 64. They may now want to ask you for the range of networks that will be contained in each of that network. Now, if you ask me for this one now, for the first network, for example, I remember when that guy talked about the block size, but block size is being calculated in a different format, which we will eventually get, where we will say the that is the maximum number of votes you can get, which is 256 minus the minus the mask, right? Now, how do you even get the subject and the subnet mask? You know, this is 0. And now, if you are dividing into 4, this was 24 by default, right? You just look
Yeah.
down here at the mask, it turns into 26. Okay. And now, how you know the number of IP addresses or the range of these IP addresses that are arranged in each of the network? Because we start from 0. So the first network we take 0 to 63. Do you get that?
Okay. I'm a bit confused. 0 to 63.
Yeah, already you say we are dividing it into 4. And each
Yes.
network will take what?
Okay, 64 each.
64 each. So the first network now is going to take 64, right? But because we are not
Okay.
starting our count from 1,
Okay.
we are starting our count from 0, which is the actual default, right?
Okay.
So if you count from 0 to 63, you eventually get 64 too.
Okay, yes, I understand.
Yeah, then the next network now will be taking from 64 to 128. If you count it, you see that you are still having 64, right?
Oh, yes.
Then the next one will now be 128 to 192. I mean 129, right? Yeah, 129 to 192. If you count
Okay.
that, it will also give you 64. And then the next one again will go from 193 to 256. See, this is class C. The maximum you can always get to is 256. By the time you are doing your calculation and you are going beyond 256, then something is wrong somewhere.
Okay.
All right. Now, they'll now ask you that what is the assignable IP addresses in each of these network. So, and you know the formula 2n minus 2, which is the usable IP addresses. 2,
Okay.
2 raised to the power of n. We use this raised to the power of n. We can put them in brackets. And then you do minus 2. And don't forget this 2, 1, which is this 0, the first number is always the network ID, right? And the
Yes.
last number, which is 63, will become the network broadcast. Do you
Okay.
get that?
Yes.
So if we have 64 in each of the network, right? If we have
Mm.
64 in each of the network, that means we have 62 assignable or usable IP addresses.
Okay.
And don't forget that this n here, this n
Mm-hmm.
is gotten from the number of borrowed bits from the host. So look at it, just calm down. if we have, now this 255, 255, 255, if we want to really write it, if we want to write it, you have it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Okay. The last one will be zeros. 1, 2, 3, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I do.
Right?
Yeah, I do. I agree with you.
So this is the default. Now, if you are now borrowing 2 from here, yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Sorry, Olive, I'll be with you shortly.
All right, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. So this is it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm being too fast here. I think I'm being too fast. So, but do you
The
understand the
pattern.
concept? You understand the concept of this table?
Yes, I do. But the part I'm still trying to understand is that formula you mentioned, that 2 raised power n
Okay,
minus
okay.
2.
This 2 raised to
Because
power.
you
Okay,
mentioned
this is it.
something like that.
Let me just move some of these things. So let me just move this here and try to make this smaller. Yeah, it's not. It's 13 words. Can you see it like this?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So if you should cancel out, maybe you are borrowing. Let's stick to 64. So if you are sticking to 4 now, you are borrowing only 2 from here, right?
Okay.
Then you will be
Yes.
left with 6, right? Now
Okay.
you do 2 raised to the power of n, which is okay. It's actually the number of the number of hosts remaining, not the number of borrowed bits. The number of hosts
Mm.
remaining, which is
Okay.
6. If you do 2 raised to the power of 6, it will give you 64,
Okay.
which is the number of the number of total IP addresses that will be in each of the 4 networks. Okay.
Yes.
Now, where this -2 comes in, this that the assignable the total number of hosts is actually 2 raised to the power of n. 2 raised to the power of n is as simple as this. Then this is the number of hosts. The assignable or the usable is this -2. This -2 now comes in for, one is for brokers and one is for the network ID. Remember that the first network and the last network, you cannot use them.
Okay. Yes.
So that is where this -2 comes in. So if you
Okay.
look at this table now, if they say, okay, divide this network into 8 parts. If I should ask you now, divide this network into 8 parts, I'll now ask you, I am asking you now, and I want you to give me the answer. How many hosts, how many hosts do we have in each of the network?
Okay. We'll have 32.
How many usable IPs do we have in each of the network?
Okay. We'll have 30 usable IP.
In each of the
Because
network. Perfect. Then
yeah.
what will now be the standard notation, which is the slash?
Okay. The slash should be /27.
Slash 27. Perfect. Now we got that. There is something I still want us to do. You have /27, and you know
Okay.
that /27 will not work with this 255 does 255 does 255 does 0. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree.
Now, how do you convert this 227 to match the exact number that is supposed to be here. That is what we want to work towards now, right?
Okay.
Okay, now look at it. We are going to draw another table. Now in this table, not image, not this, even shapes. So in this table, I just hope I'll be able to use text here again. If we have this table like this, right? We want to make it into 8. Now, the first thing you do is, I think I will have to make use of a writing tool here. Yeah, let's see what this has for me. So in this table, I'll write 2 here. I'll write 2 into 8 places. I think this to be. Don't mind my writing. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So when you write them down in 8, don't forget that we are dealing with octet, and octet is always 8, and that is IPV4 for you, right? So you give it a power of 0 from starting from the most right hand side part, and then you start with 1, you start with 2, you start with 3, you start with 4, you start with 5. You move on to 5, you move on to 6, and you move on to 7. Okay? Now, another thing we want to do is, if you see this number, if you should say 2 raised to the power of, if you say 2 raised to the power of 7, it will give you 128. It will give you 128. I think I can use text here. Okay. So let me quickly pick up my text. Here will give you 128. And this one will give you 64. And this one will give you 32. And this one will give you 16. And this one will give you 8. The next one will give you 4. 2. Anything raised to the power of 0 is 1. So these are the answers you will get. Let me try to arrange them accordingly. These are the answers you will get. And don't forget, we are dealing with binaries now. So when you have something like this, Olive, what you do is this. So we want to convert that /27. Don't forget to, we want to convert /27. Is it 27? Yes. We want to convert /27 just so we can have something perfect as this.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Now, remember in /27, how many zeros are we borrowing? I will have to put this in writing. Let's just work with this last 8 zeros, which is of most important to us. So if you are picking 24, that means you are not borrowing anything. Right?
Yes.
If you are picking 25, you are borrowing 1. If you are picking 26, you are borrowing how many?
2.
If you are picking 27, you are borrowing how many?
3.
So we now have it as 111 0 0 0 0 0. That is into 5 zeros, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this will automatically our 1 now becomes 27. We have then total of 32. Then our zeros becomes 5, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you want to arrange these zeros, this one under this place, you will have it like this. You will have it like this. You will have it like this. I hope you're understanding.
Yes, I am.
Okay. This is how you will have our final subnet. That's the last one. Okay, so you know what you do here? The trick is very cheap, right? See, even
Okay.
with this table, with this, as this is, what you just need to do here is to find out the places where the numbers are on. So how many are on here?
Okay. 3.
3. Just sum the numbers that are on together. Tell me the answer quickly. Let me open my calculator.
This calculator.
Yeah, let me just open up mine. It's a simple math, right? So it will not take a whole lot of time. So tell me the number.
Okay. 128
128
plus 64
plus 64
plus 32.
plus 32. That is all right.
Yes.
So we have 224. So this now will now become, you see how easy it is. This now will now become 225 dot 255. 255 dot 255 dot 255 dot 224.
Okay.
You see how it works?
Yes.
Slash 27. Okay, let me just write the other one out. 192.168.20.0. Yeah, am I even writing it? I'm not writing anything.
I was
Okay.
trying to figure out where you're writing it.
192.168.20.0 slash 27. So this will actually now give you, all right, thank you. This will actually now give you this. Okay.
Okay.
So it will give you this 2224. I just want you to have the understanding before we move into the
Yes.
assignment proper.
Okay.
So you see how it is now. Now let's do one more. I would not want us to do something that is very, very tight, but you are going to do this for me. Okay. Now let's pick 4. That is like 26. What will be the subject mask of this? I mean, the subnet mask of this um, 4 network if we are using slash 26?
Okay. It will be 255 dot 255. But wait, first let me calculate it. So
So
if I did,
how many zeros are you borrowing?
okay, I'm borrowing 2 zeros.
Okay, so what would be the SIDA notation, the subnet mask?
Okay, so that is 128 plus 64. Am I correct?
128
Plus
plus
64.
64. Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
That's
Yeah,
192.
192. That is very cool. Now, you see from here, there is a part where they say you can actually divide your network to as much as 256 places. And you know that if you are dividing this to 256 places, that means the network, all the network will have only how many hosts?
1, Abby?
Yes, 1. That is as good as useless because you cannot use it. Am I correct?
Yes.
Why can't you use it?
Um, because I don't know, it's big depending on the size of the company, right? Or the size of
All right,
the
hold on. Okay, what if we are dividing our company, our network into 128 places? How many hosts or IP addresses do we have?
you have two.
Are they usable?
Yes, they are.
Okay, what can you use them for?
They are usable for network. They're usable network now, aside the broadcast, the one you mentioned, the first and the
ID.
last.
So they become useless actually because you cannot assign any of them. By the time you give one to the network, which is the network itself, and then you give one to the broadcast, which other one do you want to use?
Okay.
You see that?
Let's forge ahead.
Eh?
I said, all right, let's forge ahead.
Yeah,
Let's
you only create two networks, but not usable networks, right?
okay.
Not usable IP addresses, not usable IP addresses rather, because you have 128 networks already. But if you should divide your network into 64 parts, you will have four networks and two will be, usable, right? So do you
Okay.
think you can make use of this table now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And another way, let me check, let me teach you one cheat. So there are several ways you can know the numbers of IP addresses that are available in a particular subnet. Initially, we made use of the 2 raised to the power of n. If we even want to calculate for the subnet, the total number of network we are dividing, the formula is still 2 raised to the power of n, right? So if you are taking 1 out of this 0 now, you still do 2 raised to the power of n. That means you are dividing the network into 2, which is this. If you take 2 away, the formula is still 2 raised to the power of n. That means you are dividing the network into 4 equal parts, which is this, right? Now, how you know the exact number of IP addresses to assign? You see these numbers here, eh? You see my mouse?
Where?
Hello? Okay.
I
Now,
can-
anywhere we see 110000, your last one, you see this one here, anywhere your last one end, this is just a cheat, right? Or if it will get you confused, I think we can leave it. Anywhere that this one ends is the number of IP addresses that you get from that network.
Okay.
What am I saying? Yes, it's the number of IP addresses you get from that network. If we are using 4, if we are dividing our network into 4, this is where this one will end, and we have 64, the number of IP addresses. If we are dividing into 2, this is where our 1 will end, and we will have 128 networks. Okay, so that being said, let's take example from this our work. Sorry, I'm trying to what is happening? I cannot reduce you. Wow. So let me reduce this a little. Now the first question says subnet the IP address 203.10.93.0/24 into 30 subnets, right?
Okay.
Is 203.10.30 a valid host ID after subnetting? Now this is what we will do, eh? I don't want to clean this table, but I will have to go. I don't want to clean okay, I will not even clean any of the table. I'll just move this away. I'll probably delete it. I'll just move this away. So if you check this number of subnets, there is no
Okay.
30 here. in this our table.
Okay.
There is no 30. And don't forget, if you want to start your work, the formula is always 2 raised to the power of n. And there is nothing you will do 2 raised to the power of that will give you 30. There is no number. So the much you will get is 32. So from this table, because we are looking for 30 subnets, right?
Okay.
We are looking for 30 subnets. What we will do is we look for the nearest number. If you cannot get 30 on this table, right? We look for the nearest number after 30. That is on this
Okay.
table.
Which
So what is the
is
nearest number on this table now after
okay.
30?
That's 32.
32. So we are going to create 32 networks because we can't get 30 exactly. Let's
Okay.
see if 256 will even give us 30. Because some of the times these questions wants to be very, very tricky. 256 can never ever give us 30 as a matter of fact. It cannot. If we do 256 divided by 30, it cannot. So we have this number. So we will divide our network into 32. What we now do is we make use of 30 of the networks and do away with what?
So
Eh?
the remaining two.
The remaining 2. Perfect. Okay. Without doing much calculation, because they just want to know if, because they start from 0 now, they want to know if 203.10.93.30 is a valid host ID. And what is host ID? The network ID, which is the first number that always begins. In this case now, 203.10.93.0. This 0 in particular
Okay.
is an host ID. Okay? Is the ID. So it is not assignable. You start assigning from 1. So
One.
from
Okay.
this case, we already know the range of our IP address. What is the range of our IP address? Since we are dividing into 32.
Okay, that will be 29.
No, that is our mask. I mean the number of hosts. That is the
Okay,
range.
that's
So
8.
the number of
Okay,
hosts is the range you can get.
okay, that's 8.
8 networks, right?
Yes.
Now, if you want to do 8 networks, let me quickly pick up my stuff. If you want to do 8 network, the first network will be what?
The first network will be the host
Well,
ID,
no,
right?
no, no. What the first range? I mean, the first range.
Okay, when you say range, do you mean
The IP
this?
address is the host, the range of the host.
Okay, is it that 255?
No, okay. Let me just do this.
I
So
don't
we have
understand.
8 networks. We have 32 networks rather. And each
Oh,
of the networks, we have
uh-huh.
8 IP addresses. So the
Okay.
range now will now be 1 to 7 for the first network. I mean 0 to 7.
Okay.
That will be the range of each of the network. Each of the network they'll be starting from 8. So network, first network will be from 0 to 7. So count 0 to 7 for me, you will get 15. You will get 8. So the next range, which is second network, maybe we'll take time to explain this. Second network will now be from 8 to 15. Are we correct?
Okay. 8 to 15 or 16.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, 16. 8 to 16. Then the next one, third, will be what?
I think 17 to
17 to
let's just do 17 plus 8, right?
yeah, that will be 25.
Okay.
I think this 16 should be 15 because if you're actually counting from 8, 8 itself is the network. I think it should be 15. That is 15, not 16. Then here
So
we
I
will
think
have 16.
plus 8. Okay. So what are we adding it with? Is it plus 8 or
So you can literally say plus 7. You know why?
okay? Why?
The reason is the next number you are starting with, you are counting it inclusive. Do you
Okay.
understand? If you check this 0 now, for example, is 0 to what?
7.
That is because we counted the 0 as a number itself.
Okay.
So if we are now starting from 8, you see that from 0 now it is plus 7 that will get this 7.
Yes.
So from 8, if you add 7, you will get this 15. So this will be 23, right? Now,
Okay.
the fourth network is where we want to stop because our answer is there. The fourth network. The fourth network now will be 24 to what?
31.
31. Now, we have all of this.
Okay.
We have all of this. What we are looking for host. Don't forget. We are looking for host ID because we have gotten up to 30 and they ask for 30 years specifically. You understand?
Okay.
So let's map out our host. What will be the host of the first network?
All right. Just tell me first, so
The
I'll
host
understand it.
ID. The host ID of the first network.
Okay. So it should be 203. Abi? Point
Yeah,
10. 93.
yeah,
Point. The first network should be point 0 now.
yeah. That is the host. So the host is for the first one is 0. So what will be the host for the second one?
Okay, for the second
The host
network.
ID, the host ID, the second network, yes,
Okay, should be 8.
8. Yeah. So what will be the host ID of the third network?
16. The first one.
16. And of course, the third network,
24.
24. And if you check here, the broadcast here is 31, right?
Yes.
And that means 30 is assignable, is usable. You can assign it to somebody.
Okay.
And you cannot assign host ID.
Okay.
You don't assign host ID and broadcast. Do you understand that?
Yes, yes. Both
So
sides is not.
automatically now, this becomes a no. A no, right? Because these are the host ID. These are the host ID at the range, within the range of 30. Is that
Okay.
taken?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now we worked on, we use, so we divide the network into 32. Let's just to be sure that you are following up. what will be our CIDR notation or mask or subject? All these things said they can be confusing sometimes. But what will be the subject and the CIDR notation of this network? This is was 24. If we want to remove the 24, what are we putting next?
Okay, we'll be putting 29.
Yeah, perfect. So this network now, if we wanted to do it properly, is 29, right? But what if we don't want to write the 29? I want to put in the complete subnet mask. What will it be?
Okay. If it's 29, that means we borrowed 5, right?
Yeah, we borrowed 5. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So I'm coming, let me check. I'll need to calculate it too.
Yeah, you can even tell me I'll be doing the calculation.
Okay, so that's 128
Yeah, 128
plus 64
plus 64
plus 32
plus 32
plus 16
plus 16.
plus 8
Oh, sorry,
plus 8.
plus 8. Perfect. That's 248. So if
8,
you really
yeah.
want to write that, why did I close that? If you now want to write that now, you now do it as 203 dot 10 dot 93 dot 30 dot 30. And then let's just do this. 2 what?
48.
248. So uh 248. Yeah, this is what it will look like. Perfect. That means you got that perfectly very well, and I'm very happy about that. So the calculation is what will now be the problem now. So you have to get the questions right first. Hmm?
Okay.
Now, this
Okay.
one again, they say you are given the IP addresses of 193, this, and need 50 subnets. How many hosts per network and total network do you get once subnetted? You get that question?
Hmm. Yes. They're
You
giving
have
the
to
IP.
get it. You have to
Okay.
get it.
I need
And
50
now,
subjects.
this is the cheapest question. The way I read it, like the answer is already on our table.
Yes, so seriously. That would be 4.
Oh,
Right?
I need to clap for you. For what?
4 hosts.
But they asked 2 questions, so don't get it wrong.
Okay, let me
Yes,
see.
you get that for.
Any host
There
per
are many,
network.
eh?
Okay, and total networks, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
so if it's 4 hosts, that means it should be maybe 64
64,
networks. Okay.
64, 64. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so your company has been giving the IP address these to the subnet. You plan to put each of the 5 floors in your building on its own. What is the IP range of the last? I'm about to get this one go. It's not even hard, right? You have an IP that is starting from 0, right? And
Okay.
now, and now, what is the IP range of the last available network once you subnet? The last available network. Now, this question can be a bit tricky. Now you may want to say, okay, the last IP range of the 5th floor. Now, okay, before I even go to the 5th floor, now, because you are subnetting, you are dividing this network into 5 places, into 5th floor. That means you have to divide it into 5 places, right?
Okay.
Now, how do you start? Looking at our table, where do you start from and how do you start?
Okay. Into 5, right?
Yeah.
5 networks. So that means we'll have to do the one for 8.
Oh God. Cool. Perfect. So each of the network will have what?
32 hosts.
32. If I want to answer this question, it's very easy. Like I've gotten my answer.
Eh?
Yes. Do you know how I will get my answer?
How?
Without solving. Already I know that the first network will start from 0 to 31. The next network will start from 32 to 63. The next network will start from 64 to like that, right?
Yeah.
But if I don't want to go through all those routes from the beginning, I already know that the last network will always be the last network will always be 256. Is the network
Okay.
the last host? Because the range, when they are talking about range, they are talking about host. I already know that the last host will always be 256.
Okay.
What do I need to do? I'll just say 256. How many networks are in one IP address?
It's 256.
No, in each of the IP address, based on our calculation,
Okay, 32.
32. So what I just need to do is to bring up my calculator and say 256 minus, I'll just do 256 minus 32, 224. So this network should start from 224. I'll just know that, okay, the last IP range will be this, with this. So this 0 will turn to 224, right?
Okay.
224. But this our slash will change, change to what?
29.
Are you serious?
Abi?
Look at our table, please. It's still on your screen.
Okay, wait. Sorry, 27.
27, perfect. So we have it as slash 27. So the same range. And this time around, this will be changing to 256. This may be technically wrong. You know why I'm scared that it can be wrong? This will now be what? 27. But I know it's not wrong anyways. It's not wrong. It's correct. So I wanted to think if it could be, 225. But I think it's 224. Very correct. It's 224. It's correct. So this is just the answer.
Okay.
Grab. Like without doing a lot of calculations. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So I come again. The last IP is 256. All you just need to do is to say, okay, minus actually we are doing 32 by 32, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But now if they now say, okay, it's the fifth one they are talking about, no wahala. So what we just need to do is to say, okay, each of the network is 32. So we have to, and 32, right? Yeah, 32. 32 is the network host for the second one. 64 is the network host for the second one. So I'll just do the third one, or the host ID rather, 64 plus 32 plus 32. This is for the third one, right? I'll be the fourth one. No, the third one. Then I'll do plus 32 again, which is what? The fourth one. Then I'll now do plus 32, which is the fifth one, right? So the fifth one now, the range begins at 162 and ends at 191. If you 160 rather, and ends at 191. Where is it? So for the fifth floor, sorry, the fifth floor will now be 160 to 191. You know why we are picking now 191? Because if we should do, what am I doing now? If we should do plus 32 again, it will give us 192. And another network host, the sixth one will start from 192. So you don't have any business with 192. You have to, I mean, in the fifth range, the fifth network. So you just
Okay.
get that straight up. Are we flowing at all?
This one is a bit confusing, no?
This particular one,
Because of you said the first one that the answer is 256. So how come you are still going to get 192? Like
no. This is
this
when they say, we divided the network into 8 parts.
8, yes.
This is the range for the number 8. I said the network can come in 2 places. They can say, maybe they are saying the last range, which I'm sure there is the one they are asking.
Okay.
This is it. But because they say find 5 network,
Okay, for the fifth
so
floor.
the 5th floor now, which is the 5th network, this is the range of the 5th floor.
Okay. That's using that same 8 subnet and 32 hosts, right?
Yes. Why this
Okay.
one is the range of the number 8, the 8th network.
Okay.
So what you just do is 32 plus 32 plus 32 plus 32, 0. The network host will start from 0. That is the first network. The second network will start from 32. The third network will start from 64. The fifth network will start from 192. Like that and like that.
Okay.
Did you get that?
Yes, I understand it now.
So this class V, in the class V, you see that this one we only have 256 here. If you want to continue with class V, you now say 256 times 2. It will give you how many? 5 something, 512. You now say times 2 until you get to 65,530. What again?
I'm sure he must have made a mistake in giving us class B, because he
Yeah,
only
it
thought of.
might. Actually, it might. So your company wants to utilize classes. So I believe with these 2 points of mine and with these 3 examples we just did, you'll be able
Yes,
to carry on with the rest.
yes, I will.
So
But when I'm done, I'll just send it to you. So you
first thing is try and understand the question. So you are
okay.
saying 60 O's. Don't be intimidated by all of these things that are telling you. You can just bring out your book, pen some things down, put your calculator by the side, and just try to, do them gradually, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
All right. So this one now, that one that you highlighted, let me just say, it says subnet the IP address 210.30.12.6, right? That's
Yeah.
0. Okay, 0 rather. So it said, so there are 60 hosts in each network. So if they are saying 60 hosts in each network, that means I'll have to go with
This one you don't need calculation.
but then I said, what are the broadcast addresses of each
These guys,
network?
see this question, and that's why I tell you that yes, these guys, they just want to mess up with your brain, right? This question now, you see that they did not put slash anything here.
Yes.
What is the new
They just
subnet
said,
mask? Okay.
they just
Now
said
this network,
yeah.
they just want to mess up with your head. This one now, you don't need any calculation. What you just need to do, let's quickly do that. The first network, I don't know how I'm going to be writing this, so I will not be writing first network, second network. Let me just go straight. The first
Okay.
network ID, host ID is 0. And don't forget it's 60 at interval because there's a 60 host
In each network.
in each
Okay.
network. The second network will be 60. will start from 60, the ID, right?
Okay. Yes.
The next one will start from
120. Abi?
120. The next one will start from
180.
180. This can be a bit tricky, but let's go. Let's just do it because we will not get exactly 256 from here. And then the next one will be 240.
40.
So something like that, 60. What are the broadcast address of each of the network? Okay. So if you want to go straight by this question, now you know that since this one is 60, the range of this will be 59,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the range of this will be 119. And the range of this will be 179. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
The range of this will be
239.
239. Yeah.
Oh,
I think when my mentor was teaching me this thing, he talked about they will always be odd number. So the broadcast will always be odd number, which is the range. It will always end at odd number, right?
okay.
It will always end at odd number. It is a must. That is when you even know that you are doing something wrong.
Okay. That's if it does not end at
With
odd
odd
number.
number, yes, because you start with zero, and all of
Oh,
these are even number. So this zero will always drag you back to odd number.
odd numbers. Okay.
Yeah. So automatically, eh, these last
Okay.
ones are the broadcast.
Okay. Okay.
It's just
Yes.
too obvious.
Okay.
You get it?
So those was now the answers. Because from that 240 now, 240 will be 240 to 255,
It will be
right?
300. We are doing plus 60.
Oh, okay.
It will
300.
be
I think
300. So now we will stop at 240 and hold it. But again, right? We can
okay.
do this in another way. Let me quickly just try to shift some things here. Let me just do this. So we can do this in another way because we are not network people, and maybe they don't expect us to do much, but then we have to do the much. It is important we do them. Okay. So now another thing is for us to be very accurate. When they say 60 hosts, and looking at our table, how many hosts can we really get?
64.
60. Ideally, for technicality, we have zero for the first host, right?
Okay.
The second ID will be what?
64.
And the next one will be what? 128. The next
28.
one will be what?
I know.
192.
Okay.
Yeah, 192. And the next one will be what? I think 224. Yeah, 224. And the next one will be, no,
It's 192.
192. We are doing 60, Abby.
No, 64.
Okay. So that will give us 250, 250. Let me use my calculator. I cannot come and cut my brain.
As in, like,
So 128 plus 64 will give us 192 plus 64 will give us 256. Oh, 256. So these are the total number of hosts we can get. Host ID, I mean to say. So from here now, what do we have?
63.
63. From here, what do we have?
127.
127. And from here,
191.
191.
From there, 255.
255. Oh, and don't forget, the highest we can get is actually 255. We can't even get to 256.
Okay.
You know why?
The 256. Okay, is it the broadcast or what?
We already had 0. So this 0 counts for us.
Okay. I've said that before. Okay.
So all of these are, if you still count all of them, all is 256. And that is why you will always see 255, 255 in subnet
Okay.
mask, and you don't go beyond it.
Yes. Okay.
So from here now, just in case we want to follow technicality and standards, what will be our broadcast for all the networks?
Okay, to be 63, 127, 191, 255.
As easy as that. So I'll just still attach it here. Why even need them? Okay, okay, I will copy. Sorry. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, let that be there. So what else? Do we really need to do anything? What's the time? 11:41. This
Oh, no,
recording is
no,
becoming.
you're right. Thank you. I'll
So
do
I
it.
don't want this to be boring for our guys who will eventually watch it, right?
Right.
So your ISP has given you we are only left with 2. We don't do everything finish. Our ISP has given you address assigned to your router interface. They have also given you a default gateway address. After you configure the address, the router is unable to ping. What is preventing the router? This can be a bit tricky, but this level look at the network.
What to do with private and public also?
2235 14. They're on the same network. 629. So what could actually prevent it is network. But this IP is not complete. They could have, if they are not on the same network. Because already now, from this first 3, you can tell that they are on the same network actually. But they could have been subnetted. Maybe they are subnetted in a way. So after configure the address. Maybe they are just on a different network. Maybe. I can't tell, but I will consult my friend, their co-pilot, so that I can answer it for me. So this giving the address, this is which of the following host address in this. So 2 of these are host address. It's now left for you to go and research. And now we have 28. Let's just quickly do something a little. We have 28 here.
Yes.
So how many networks do we have?
That's 16.
And what is usually our host?
Same 16.
0 and then 16, right?
Yeah.
We first of all have 0.
That's 0, yes.
So this one is correct already without looking further.
Okay.
That one is correct. Now, after 16, what do we go up to next?
Okay, that's after 16, you have 32.
After 32,
32 plus 16, 48.
and maybe they want to say this is the answer, but this cannot be the answer.
Which are valid host addresses. Okay.
which of the following are valid
Valid.
hosts? So this should be 32.
Okay. Okay, I
It should be
think
32. If they were talking about broadcast, this is a broadcast.
they said are valid. They did not say are not. That means they want us to choose the networks that are usable, maybe excluding the
No,
broadcast.
not okay. Okay, are you sure?
Yes, they said
Are
which of the
usable.
are valid.
Oh, valid
Uh,
host address on this subnet. For host address, given the yeah, it's possible. So if that is the case, this one is not correct because it's a network ID, and this one is not correct because of what?
that last one, that 31, I think that one is a broadcast.
Is a broadcast. Yes. So these are the correct ones.
Okay.
So these two, this is host ID, not actually host address. It's host identity, and
Okay.
this
It's a broadcast.
is a broadcast. Okay.
Okay.
So I said I wanted to consult my guy, Copilot.
Yes, that's 7. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what Copilot we have for us.
Oh, you have tried though, Paul.
Oh, sure.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome anytime, any day. So the issue lies in the default gateway address provided by your ISP. For the subnet this, the broadcast address is this, which is the last. The broadcast address is this. Okay, since the default gateway address is the broadcast address. Oh, 29. When we say 29, how many IP do we have in 29? Can it be A16? Okay, let me just pick up my things to 29. So we have
Yes.
8 network, 8 hosts in each of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 7 is actually a broadcast, right?
Okay, yeah, true.
And the broadcast now is what they still make the gateway. I see
Okay.
my friend is just so good. So he said the issue lies in the default gateway address provided by your ISP. That is where the problem comes. For the subnets, the broadcast address is this because the range will be between 0 and 7, and 7
7
becomes the broadcast. Since the default gateway address is the broadcast address, the router cannot use it
to
to
communicate.
communicate with remote devices. The default gateway should be an address within the usable range of the subnet, excluding the network and broadcast addresses. To resolve
Yes.
this, you would need to contact your ISP and request a valid default gateway address within the subnet usable range. Did you get our answer?
Yes, sure, I did. Explains it
Okay.
very well.
We did not even know this before. I myself did not know this before. Let me not just generalize it. Okay. I just hope this will be fit enough for me to post in the future. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this junction, I hope we have done justice. And
Yeah.
what is needed now is go back to our drawing board and do that which is needful. So sometimes these systems can be very, very terrible. So I want to stop recording. Yeah, and I do this.